Imagine a time when American cities pulsed with jazz, skyscrapers clawed their way toward the clouds, and bustling streets echoed with the rhythm of commerce. The Roaring Twenties were a decade of dreams built on speed, energy, and innovation. Yet beneath the glitz and glamour, business owners wrestled with a stubborn challenge: how to move goods faster, farther, and more efficiently than ever before. Horse-drawn wagons still clogged many urban delivery routes, and early trucks were little more than converted cars, not truly built for the rigors of business. Into this world of limited options and boundless ambition rolled a machine that would change everything: the 1929 Dodge Merchants Express. It wasn't just a truck, it was a business revolution on wheels. For merchants, grocers, craftsmen, and small distributors, the Merchants Express wasn't just a vehicle. It was a promise of modernity. It represented freedom from inefficiency, a new dawn for local economies, and a bold reimagining of what commerce could be in a rapidly modernizing nation. With its sturdy frame, reliable engine, and purpose-built design, Dodge offered something radically new: a truck specifically engineered for business owners. It was fast, durable, and capable of carrying heavier loads than previous light-duty vehicles. Where previous trucks were often afterthoughts, adaptations of passenger cars unsuited for hard labor, the Merchants Express was built from the ground up for one purpose: to deliver. It arrived at the perfect moment. The 1920s were a golden age for small businesses. With consumer culture booming and Americans spending more freely than ever, demand for goods skyrocketed. Yet this surge exposed the logistical limitations of the time. Delivery delays were common. Inventory losses mounted from jostled cargo and unreliable transportation. Businesses large and small needed a new solution, something with muscle, dependability, and efficiency. That solution was Dodge. The Merchants Express was a boxy, bold symbol of progress. It looked like business in motion. With its flatbed and enclosed delivery box options, it could haul anything from crates of oranges to sacks of flour, bolts of fabric to tools of the trade. Powered by Dodge's dependable four-cylinder engine and mated to a tough transmission, the truck handled the demands of city driving with surprising grace. It could stop on a dime, turn through narrow alleyways, and make delivery runs that used to take all day in a fraction of the time. More than just a tool, the Merchants Express became a partner. Local grocers emblazoned their names on its sides, creating mobile advertisements before the term even existed. Craftsmen used them as mobile workshops. Bakeries sent fresh bread steaming to neighborhoods miles away, expanding their reach without opening more storefronts. For many small business owners, this truck was the first chance to grow, to expand their footprint beyond a few city blocks, and to compete with bigger, more established rivals. That kind of empowerment was rare in a decade dominated by industrial giants. And it wasn't just about speed or strength, it was about reliability. The Merchants Express could be trusted. In an era when breakdowns were a constant threat and spare parts hard to find, Dodge's engineering stood out. Mechanics respected it. Drivers praised its handling. Owners loved that it simply worked. Its rugged leaf spring suspension absorbed the cobbled chaos of early urban streets, while its robust chassis made it capable of surviving long days under heavy load. Unlike the delicate, temperamental trucks of the early 1920s, the Merchants Express was built to hustle, day after day, mile after mile. Its timing also coincided with a national transformation. Paved roads were expanding, thanks to the Federal Aid Road Act of 1916 and the subsequent Federal Highway Act of 1921. More towns were being connected, and more goods were expected to flow. The Merchants Express thrived in this growing web of opportunity. It wasn't just a city truck. It could hit the open road, reach rural customers, and bring businesses new revenue streams far beyond the city limits. In that way, it did something extraordinary. It helped knit the country closer together. Perhaps most striking was how it democratized enterprise. You didn't need a fleet of trucks or a massive warehouse. One Merchants Express and a good idea could be enough. It represented the American entrepreneurial spirit in physical form. For the dry cleaner, the dairyman, the florist, it was an extension of their business, a way to grow smarter and faster in a fast-changing economy. In a world where large-scale infrastructure was still catching up with demand, it was a self-contained, mobile unit of productivity. This is the side of history we don't always tell, the logistics behind the legend. We talk about skyscrapers and factories, about Wall Street and flapper dresses, but we often miss the engines that kept everyday life in motion. The 1929 Dodge Merchants Express was one of those unsung heroes. It wasn't flashy, but it was faithful. It didn't make headlines, but it made 1,000 deliveries. And for thousands of business owners across America, it wasn't just a truck. It was their livelihood. Even as the Great Depression loomed, the Merchants Express remained a symbol of hope. Though the crash of '29 would darken the horizon, small businesses would lean harder than ever on tools like this to survive. And survive they did. Many weathered the storm precisely because they had vehicles like the Dodge, reliable, versatile, and economical. In many ways, the 1929 Dodge Merchants Express laid the foundation for modern logistics. Its legacy is present in every last-mile delivery truck, every Amazon van, every branded Sprinter moving through our neighborhoods today. It foreshadowed a world where mobility, speed, and customer reach would define success. It changed the expectation for what a work vehicle could be, not just a tool of transport, but a vital business asset. Its spirit lives on in the DNA of Dodge's modern lineup, from the Ram 1500 to heavy-duty commercial vehicles. The Merchants Express taught automakers that utility didn't have to come at the cost of quality. It proved that trucks weren't just for farms or factories. They were for florists and furniture stores, for restaurateurs and repairmen. It was a blueprint and an inspiration. And while the 1929 Dodge Merchants Express may not draw crowds like a flashy roadster or a chrome-laden classic, to those who understand business history, it's a masterpiece. It's a turning point. It's a vehicle that transformed potential into progress. It deserves its place not just in vintage truck collections, but in the broader story of American enterprise. Because behind every great leap in history, there's usually a workhorse moving the weight, and in 1929, that workhorse wore a Dodge badge and ran on ambition. So the next time you see a delivery van zip by, remember, the road it drives on was paved by visionaries, and by machines like the 1929 Dodge Merchants Express. A truck that didn't just carry cargo, it carried the future of American business. By 1929, the American business world was racing to keep pace with a rapidly transforming economy. The decade had been one of profound shifts. Consumerism was booming, the stock market roared with unbridled energy, and cities grew into hives of ambition and commerce. In this backdrop, where speed and efficiency were the new currencies of success, a silent revolution rolled onto the scene, the 1929 Dodge Merchants Express. It wasn't a headline-grabbing sports car or a symbol of high society luxury, but to the shopkeepers, suppliers, and small-scale manufacturers of the time, it was a game-changer. This machine redefined what a commercial vehicle could be and gave rise to a whole new way of doing business. The Merchants Express was not just a utility truck, it was purpose-built for commerce, with a robust four-cylinder engine that delivered dependable torque, a spacious cargo area tailored for maximum load efficiency, and an ergonomic cabin that prioritized the comfort and control of the working driver. This was a tool engineered for hustle, created at the intersection of practicality and innovation. At the heart of the Merchants Express was its dedication to performance. It could take on heavier loads than previous models without sacrificing drivability. Its suspension system soaked up the ruts and bumps of early urban roads and rural trails alike, while its reinforced chassis offered the strength and durability that businesses needed. But it wasn't just about strength. This truck was smart too. Dodge's engineers had designed the cargo area for flexibility, enabling a variety of businesses to tailor it to their unique needs. Grocers could outfit it with insulated compartments for perishables, florists with delicate bracing for fragile stems, and hardware dealers with modular shelving to keep inventory in order. This was a truck that spoke the language of business. Its timing was impeccable. America in the late 1920s was teetering on the edge of a logistics awakening. Railroads still dominated cross-country transport, But there was a growing recognition that rail alone couldn't service the final mile. That's where trucks came in, and the Merchants Express was the one leading the charge. Businesses that once relied on horse-drawn wagons or makeshift pickups now had a new option, a vehicle designed specifically for fast, reliable, and cost-effective local delivery. Suddenly, what took an entire day could be done in a few hours. Customers could expect fresher goods, faster service, and a broader variety of offerings, thanks to the improved range and dependability the Dodge truck delivered. This shift had a compounding effect on American commerce. The Merchants Express became the invisible engine behind growing businesses, allowing mom-and-pop shops to expand their customer base, improving supply chain efficiencies, and enabling inventory turnover at speeds never seen before. Lower delivery times translated to lower costs, and lower costs translated to higher margins and more competitive pricing. In turn, that meant broader access to goods for customers and increased demand for services. The truck wasn't just a vehicle, it was a force multiplier. It helped reshape the way goods were moved and sold, from small towns to burgeoning cities. In a sense, the Merchants Express laid the groundwork for the birth of modern logistics. It was an early answer to a growing need for smarter, faster, more flexible delivery methods. Before terms like supply chain optimization and fleet management software entered our vocabulary, the principles were being lived out in real time by the merchants who piloted these Dodges through dawn traffic, over muddy farm roads, and into narrow alleyways. These early operators became pioneers in logistics, using the new efficiencies of their vehicles to rethink route planning, inventory stocking, and even customer service. The truck was enabling not just deliveries, but decisions, business strategies shaped by the newfound power of speed and reach. As the decades passed and technology evolved, the foundations laid by the Merchants Express became clearer. Look at any modern delivery truck, from UPS vans to refrigerated Amazon vehicles, and you'll find echoes of the 1929 Dodge in their DNA. The idea that a vehicle should be tailored to its task, optimized for workflow, and reliable under pressure all stemmed from the kind of thinking Dodge pioneered. Before the Merchants Express, many trucks were retrofits. After it, commercial vehicles were born with purpose. Even in the 21st century, the influence remains visible in vehicle design and logistics philosophy. The use of modular cargo systems, ergonomic driver compartments, fuel efficiency as a bottom-line concern, and built-in reliability were all priorities first addressed by trucks like the Dodge Merchants Express. Today's smart warehouses, delivery algorithms, and telematics systems operate on a principle of maximizing value per mile, a concept that began to take root nearly a century ago when a grocer discovered he could double his deliveries in a single day thanks to Dodge engineering. Modern logistics, of course, has grown into a behemoth. It stretches across continents, guided by satellites and software, driven by real-time analytics and complex data models. Yet the core idea remains unchanged: deliver goods efficiently, reliably, and affordably. In that sense, the Merchants Express was not merely a relic of a bygone era but a prototype of progress. It stands as a turning point in business history, one of those rare machines that didn't just meet a market need, it redefined the market itself. As we reflect on the world of commerce today, it's impossible to overstate the role logistics plays. From next-day shipping to same-day groceries, from global supply chains to doorstep deliveries, the expectations of consumers and businesses alike have evolved dramatically. Much of that transformation can be traced back to innovations in transportation. And while autonomous trucks and drones dominate the headlines now, the core principles driving that innovation, efficiency, reliability, reach, were championed by vehicles like the Merchants Express nearly a century ago. Today, logistics is a high-tech battlefield. GPS tracking ensures every parcel is traceable. Algorithms calculate the most efficient delivery routes. Warehouses are automated with robotic pickers, and supply chains are managed from global control towers. Yet for all the digital prowess, the need for a sturdy, reliable, purpose-built delivery vehicle remains as relevant as ever. It's poetic, in a way, that the challenges of 1929 mirror the complexities of today, albeit with different tools. The Dodge Merchants Express was the first of its kind to address those challenges with such clarity, and its legacy lives in every box truck, every cargo van, every mobile unit of commerce humming down our highways. Looking forward, we see transportation heading toward electrification and autonomy. Battery electric delivery vehicles are reshaping urban freight, while self-driving technologies promise to eliminate human error and reduce operational costs. Yet even in this horizon of change, the DNA of innovation that Dodge instilled in the Merchants Express remains central. The focus on utility, on building machines that empower business, that shrink distances and expand markets, those ideas are timeless. And as we close the chapter on this remarkable truck, it's worth remembering what it truly represented. It wasn't just a machine. It was an idea that with the right tools, small businesses could think big. That speed and efficiency didn't have to belong only to the big corporations. That mobility could democratize opportunity. The 1929 Dodge Merchants Express taught us that innovation doesn't always wear a shiny badge or race at breakneck speeds. Sometimes, it drives slowly down Main Street, loaded with milk bottles, toolkits, and newspapers, changing the world one delivery at a time.